Hello everyone and welcome to a review of a new game by Killerfish Games. Now, let's get the elephant out of the room before anything at all. This is my first video in 6 months, right? Or more than 6 months, actually, almost 9. You will be asking why, and the answer will be too complicated to answer in a video, which is going to be a review of a game. I guess that when I start making videos on a regular fashion again, I will explain my motives. But for the time being, let's say that just things are not going very well for me in real life, not for my family. So I'm just keeping things cool, and well, the channel was not doing very well anyway when I stopped making videos, so it was not a big deal to stop making them. Will I start making videos again? Yes. When? I don't know. I know that sucks for people who follow me, but it's the way it is. You can, in the meantime, follow me on Facebook. I usually post some stuff there now and then. But as for the video making, I don't know where I'm going to start making videos again. But, well, where we are at this, right? There's a new game by Killerfish Games. Now, if you don't know who Killerfish Games are, well, those are the guys who made and brought to us Atlantic Fleet, which, as you know, I utterly love, and I made a whole Let's Play series of the campaign, the British campaign. World War II, strategy game, turn-based, and very immersive, quite realistic in most senses, with some concessions here and there for gameplay, and overall a total steal for the price because it was $10 in Steam. So yeah, I totally adored that game, and it seems that the developers really liked what I did with their game because I contacted them when this game, Cold Waters, was released, and they were so nice as to give me a free key for this game. So beware, this review is of a game I got for free. But if you know me, and if you have been following me for any kind of time, you know that my opinion isn't never on sale. So that someone provided a game for free for me to review doesn't mean I'm going to sugarcoat things if they are not great. But the question is what is this? I mean, we know Atlantic Fleet was a game about World War II. This is totally different. If you are an old-timer like me, you've been playing games for a long time like me, you might very well remember a game in the old times of the 16-bit computers, the Atari ST, the Amiga, and then the very first, let's say, generation of gaming PCs, which was called Red Storm Rising, which was based, in turn, in a novel written by Tom Clancy, the same guy who wrote Hunt for Red October, very famous novel and even more famous movie, even while the movie has nothing to do with the novel, but besides. Now that game is a cult classic, Red Storm Rising. It's one of those, let's say, totems of the sub-sim community everyone looks up to because it was so good. And this claims to be the spiritual successor to that game, which means it's not a remake. It's a spiritual successor. Very important point because people are missing the point in some points. But we'll speak more about that later. So, if you know about submarine simulators, and if you've been playing them for any kind of time, you will know that since the 90s there's this trend of submarine simulators to be station simulators. So, you are supposedly the commander of a submarine, but you have to go station by station doing every job in the submarine. From sonar, finding contacts, marking them, classifying them, getting the proper propeller revolution, etc. You have to do that. You also have to do weapon management. So you have to enter everything you need in the torpedo program for it to do exactly what you want. You have to man the TMA station, the target motion analysis station, to get a proper firing solution on any contact you make. You have to go to the electronic stations to manage your your ESM mast and to locate all the different radiations you are getting and to classify them. Then you have to mask the periscope. If you use it, you have to go to every single station on the submarine and do all the job yourself. Now, some of them allow you to automate some stations, but honestly, the automation doesn't work very well, and yeah, you don't get very good results out of it. At any rate, a lot of people like that style of game. This is not like that. Now, this is a sub-commander simulator. Let's call it that way. So you are not manning your sonar station, so you don't have to find every contact around you. The crew will do that for you. You can ID, and you should be doing ID on your contacts through the sonar screen, or the sonar is a very little screen. But the crew will do that for you if you don't, and even if you get a wrong classification, they will eventually correct you. They do weapons management for you, they do ESM tracking for you, they do TMA for you, which is huge in scenarios with a lot of different vessels. I mean, one of the worst things about those subsims I'm speaking about, 688I, Subcommand, Dangerous Waters, even the older SSN21, is that you had to do TMA on every single contact. And if you have a scenario where there were, I don't know, maybe 10 enemies, good luck doing TMA on 10 of them at the same time, right? Well, this game does that for you. I mean, obviously you can give your crew better chances to do a faster track and motion analysis. You can give them better chances to do proper detections by managing your depth and your speed and, well, managing the parameters so you maximize their performance. But they are going to perform. And you are the commander. You take the tactical decisions. You don't man any station, which obviously brings a very simple concept and a very simple result. The game really is managed mostly through the tactical map, the tactical screen. You have a 3D view, which is pretty cool and pretty neat to watch, but for the most part you will be using the tactical map. And there's no other station. There are some tabs down on the right, which you are managing between damage control, signature analysis, storage, because obviously you want to see what you have there, and conditions, the sea conditions, which is the available depth in the current area, if there's a layer or not, etc. And little else. I mean, this is mostly the game. One screen really, or two screens, and some little tabs with which you manage everything. It's very simple, and it works amazingly well, at least for me. Now, the questions right now would be: how realistic is this? Is this a real submarine simulator? Is this an arcade? What the hell I'm looking at? My answer would be I've been playing, you know me, you know how I am. I've been playing with hard realism settings since the very first time I tried a training mission. So at top realistic settings, this is very immersive. It's realistic. It really feels like you are in command of a submarine. It really feels everything is where it should be. It just doesn't have stations. It's essentially that. It's a sub-commander simulator. And honestly, I like the approach a lot. The thing is that still, even while this is you are supposedly the commander and you are doing nothing but taking the tactical decisions, you still have to do some things, and some of them have raised a little bit of some complaints from the reviewers and the players. For instance, helm. You don't give orders of depth or course to your crew. You drive your submarine manually through keys. I mean, you give them, you manage the rudder, you manage the ballast tanks, and you manage the dive planes. So if you want to do a change of depth, you have to do it yourself. If you want to do a change of course, you have to do it yourself. And there's no shortcut for periscope depth. For instance, if you want to go to periscope depth, you have to manage your sub to go there, which is kind of an interesting design decision in a game that otherwise makes the crew do everything for you. I like the fact that you can control your submarine by keys. In fact, it's very well represented. The sub really feels quite realistic in the way it behaves, except for the fact that it accelerates and decelerates a little bit too fast. But that happens a lot in modern simulations, so it's not a big deal. The developers are really thinking about, and probably will at a later date, add some kind of hotkeys or fast ways to order your crew to do that kind of stuff for you, while remaining and giving you the ability to still manually control your sub, which is huge. It's great because really having hands-on control of your submarine makes a huge difference on and torpedo evasion, for instance, because you can pull some very wild maneuvers by managing your sub correctly, which is huge. It's really, really, really great. As for other things, again, you have to, well, you don't have to, but you should be doing identification of targets through narrowband screen, which is a very tiny sonar screen you will be seeing in the video down in the right now and then. That is the, let's call it the modularization of the sound you're receiving. You see the frequencies of the sound you're receiving, and as every single vessel in real life as well has a unique pattern of frequencies that it propagates and it emits, you can ID targets by looking at that screen. The sooner you do an identification, the better chances your crew has to do a very fast track motion analysis, because if they know what they are tracking, obviously they have a better time analyzing its movements. So it's a nice thing. You don't have to do it. Really, this part you totally can forgo, and the crew will eventually do a classification for you, but they take a pretty long time, and the tracking motion analysis in the meantime goes very slowly. So you should be doing those analyses by yourself. But other than that, you're the commander, and the crew does everything for you. Now, how realistic is this? Obviously, in a simulation like this, you need to have a very, very good sonar model, which includes things like layers, how strong they are, background noise, shadow zones. And for what I've seen, the model is fantastic. Just like that, it's fantastic. There are some things which are simplified here and there. It's not full realism, and probably is not as a complex model as, for instance, the Sonalist's sonar model for their games, like Dangerous Waters. I mean, Sonalists do training software for real life submarine sonar crews, so probably their model will be better than this, but this is not bad at all. This is very complete, and I've seen some things that have really surprised me, like for instance ground capture. I mean, when you send a torpedo very close to the bottom, the torpedo gets confused because he gets a lot of returns, and he has a really tough time differentiating what's a real submarine from what's the bottom, especially if the bottom is rocky or is very hard. If it's moody, then things are different. Surface capture, in very much the same fashion, also kind of works here and there. It's not fully implemented. I think there's some room for improvement there, and they will improve it, I'm sure. But the sonar model is really good. Everything there, I mean, everything that matters is there. Layers, sound propagation, background noise, whether the surface is calm or there's a storm raging up there, reflections on the bottom, convergence zones, everything's there. So really, in order to succeed in this game, you need to pull real life tactics. And now next step would be, how is the AI? And I would say it's punishingly good, at least in hard mode, which is what I'm playing. I don't know about easy mode. I don't know about more arcade days options. We'll touch the different options later. But in the realistic mode I'm playing at, really, you don't want to be found. If you are found, the enemy First, it reacts very, very quickly. I think too quickly, in fact. It's like that. They are really good, and they are very smart. They pull things that you actually see that if they don't work, they might work, right? You know what I mean? Um, the most important thing is that you don't want to be detected, because if you are detected, the AI will punish you hard. This game is not easy, at least not in the realistic mode. I can tell you that. Game modes, well, you have some training scenarios where you can hone your skills and where you can get the grasp of how the game goes and the controls and especially the different weapons, the sonar, how it works, how the crew works, how to drive your submarine, etc. Then you have some single scenarios, 10 in total, and 2 different campaigns, which are kind of semi-dynamic, I would say. In the campaign, you are given some orders as time goes by, and you need to, well, try to accomplish those orders, so you will lose the war. And then, obviously, you can also engage enemies at random, not following the orders at all, or you can be intercepted by some other force that the one you are looking for, etc. Is the kind of missions you will find, they are more or less limited in their pattern. I mean, there are maybe 6, 7 different kind of missions, and depending on your orders, you will have to do one or another. It's good. It's good. It really will give you a lot of hours of entertainment, especially because the AI is really, really punishing, and it works very well. I like it, and especially given the fact that I know for sure that more of this is coming. I mean, the game like now has content of every single American sub since the Sturion to the Los Angeles. I mean, Sturion, Permit, Narwhal, Los Angeles, obviously. Skipjack, maybe another I'm missing. I mean, all the submarines that the U.S. All the nuclear submarines the U.S. Used since the 50s up to the 80s is there, and you can drive them, every single of them, and each one of them is unique in its properties. Each one of them is modeled based on real life data. The same about all the platforms you'll find the weapons, parameters. I mean, it's one of the campaigns is in 68, and some of the scenarios are in the 68 as well. And at that time there were no Mark 48s. There were no ADCAPs. The torpedoes back then were a very crappy anti-submarine torpedo, the Mark 37, and a straight-running World War II pattern torpedo, the Mark 16. And in order to hit surface targets, you need to shoot them with the Mark 16, which again is straight-running. You need to be very close for those things to work, and it's hairy. It's really difficult. Really, the 68 campaign is something else. You should try it. Well, or you shouldn't, depending on how good you are at submarine games. Yeah, I'm losing track here. Well, the campaign right now gives you a chance of managing any of those subs. You can choose your own sub, or you can accept one on random. I mean, the game will give you one, and you can accept it or select the one you want. There are going to be expansions for this game. There's probably going to be DLC, and even then, I mean, the game has a huge modability built on it. Mods are going to happen for this game. The Subsim community is very famous for being very, very good at pulling out mods, especially for games like Silent Hunter. But if this game catches on, and I don't see why not, because it really is any subsim lover dream, we are going to see a lot of mods about it, and mods including new missions, probably campaigns, probably submarines, and even out of those mods, the developer really is planning to bring more campaigns, more missions, more submarines from more nations. Right now they are looking at again, right now what they are doing is fixing the game, because it's not perfect. There are some things that can be improved here and there. There are some things that can be implemented that will add to the game. There are petitions from the community that they are liking and probably will see their way into the game. So right now they are working on the game as it is, but in the future they are planning to do expansions, and we can see British submarines, French submarines, Japanese submarines, diesel electrics, lots of stuff, lots of very, very, very cool stuff. More campaigns, obviously. So, wow, I mean, the thing was, when I heard they were doing this game, my question was, are they going to do it again? I mean, they came out of the blue. No one was expecting them to do something like Atlantic Fleet. No one was expecting Atlantic Fleet to be any good. In fact, most people thought it was going to be shit, just like looking at the price. And then they found the jewel it was. I honestly think that Killerfish Games let us steal them in mass with Atlantic Fleet. Now, this game is a little bit more pricey. It's 37 euros on Steam right now, and even while I didn't pay for it, I can tell you it's worth it if you like this kind of game. If you like this kind of game. Now, keep in mind, this is not a game that people who like fast action will love, or maybe they will. I don't. And the only problem is that I haven't tested this game with the easiest settings, difficulty settings available. That's the only thing. I didn't try it that way. So maybe with AI in easy and game mode in easy and with all the compressions on, this thing is a very fast-paced arcade. I don't know. But for the most part, submarine warfare is what it is. It requires patience. It requires thinking. It's not about fast action at all. It's about being patient, doing smart moves, and striking at the correct moment. If you like that kind of gameplay, this game is for you. You must get this game. If you don't like anything that's not action-packed, all I'm going to say is that with the difficulty settings to the top, this isn't for you. I'll leave it at that. Things that could be improved. Well, first and foremost, and I'm going to say this, I already said that in the forums, and I already told the developers personally, we need a clock. We need some kind of on-screen measure of time passage, because especially if you are a planner like I am, like okay, I'm here, I am detected, the enemy is there, I know that if I go at full speed for X time in that direction, he will probably not hear me, but on that time, while you are moving at full speed, your sonar is pretty much useless. I'm going to lose contact, so I want to plan exactly where I will be at that time and where the enemy will be at that time. If you have seen my Silent Hunter gameplays, you will know that I'm a lot like that. For that, you need some kind of tool to know what time is it and when to stop the time compression. Because if you don't even know how much time has really passed. So we need a clock. There's no clock, and I want a clock. And probably there will be one, because again, Killerfish Games is hearing to the community, and they are taking into account all the suggestions they are receiving, and the ones that they like probably will see their way into the game. More things that is lacking. Well, the option of giving fast orders to the crew, of changing depths or giving course orders. I mean, managing your sub directly through keys is really cool, but really it's a little bit away from the theme of the game. If you are the commander of the submarine, everyone is working for you, but you still have to manually helm the submarine, right? Probably that will see also its path into the game. It will be added to the game at some point. There's one point, and is that the tow rays, you can't see them. They are not represented in the 3D view. They are so far abstracted, and that's because they actually had them working, but they didn't work very well. They were a little bit wonky. They were having some troubles with shallow water scenarios and that kind of thing. They want to get that perfectly done before incorporating it into the game, but it will make it into the game. For the most part, things that are not really good. People are criticizing the UI a little bit. I don't see why. I see the UI as simple as functional, and that's what you want in a game, right? Of course, it can be improved in some areas, but overall, I think it's perfectly fine for the game as it is. More things I could tell about the game. Well, there's a problem with the anti-submarine planes. I'm absolutely positive of that. I don't know exactly which the problem is, but the fact is they seem omniscient. They are on top of you all the time, even while you know for sure that the enemy hasn't detected you. So, I mean, one time that just by pure sheer bad luck, an enemy plane overflies you and detects you through the magnetic anomaly detector. Okay, bad luck, happens. But all the time, no. And it's happening all the time. Probably there's the developers already are looking into it, and they already said probably there's something wrong in there. They are looking into that to fix it. More things. I personally think the AI is too good, at least in the realistic mode. The reaction times are insane. I mean, there have been situations where I fired 4 missiles, or 1 missile. I was going to fire 4 missiles. I fired the first one. Before I could fire the third missile, the enemy was already firing back at me, which is an insane reaction time coming from an enemy that didn't know you were there. I mean, you have to take into account the fact that the enemy first, they detect, oh shit, something is firing at us. They have to man the stations, they have to direct the sensors towards that place, they have to get the weapons ready, they have to turn the weapons towards that area, and then they have to fire. And honestly, a reaction time of less than 30 seconds is a little bit too much. And I'm seeing that a lot. Is a huge point of complaint? Not really. Just the AI is very good, but I would like it to see a little bit toned down, if anything, for immersive factor. If you take the enemy totally by surprise, the reaction times should be a lot slower than they are right now. But other than that, for practical reasons, I think the game is very good as it is. The zonal model is fantastic. I don't know exactly up to which point is close to the zonalist models, but it really works. It works very well. It's immersive. It's realistic. You get the feeling you are actually getting things as they should be in real life. The submarines are beautifully done. The 3D models are beautiful to look at. Graphically speaking, I mean, this is not a game that you should be looking to the graphics a lot, but graphically, this is a joy to watch. There are a little very nice features here and there. For instance, when you fire a harpoon from your submarine, if you see it launching, the weapon fires, and once it's aloft, it drops the booster of the missile and then switches to the internal sustaining engine, which is a super cool thing. I mean, there are a lot of minimal things and a lot of attention to detail here and there, which makes the thing so much better. There are very little things. They are not really that important in the whole scope of the game, but just by being there, it's great. Overall, would I recommend this game? If you like submarine warfare, and if you like modern submarine warfare, don't think this is Island Hunter 4. I mean, it has nothing to do with it, as does every other sub-sim of modern submarines. A nuclear submarine and its weapons has absolutely nothing to do with the way submarines worked in World War II. If you like submarine warfare, get it, no doubt. But if you only like World War II submarines and you are expecting this to be Silent Hunter 4, it's not. It's not. Really, it's not. So I'm not going to tell you stay away, but be mindful that this is a very different game. What I'm going to say, they did it again. They brought us a game that no one expected to be this good, and it is this good. I'm totally amazed by these guys, and I can tell you by speaking to them, this is the kind of developers that really should get it done. I mean, they should have success with this game, because you can see and you can feel that before developers, they are players and they are fans of naval combat. They know they think as any other crazy fan like myself does. They did their homework, they know their vessels, they know their things, they know how tactics work, and they made a game where all that works and works well. Then, and that's exactly the kind of developers we need in these kind of games, because honestly, there are enough guys out there who are making games just to make money and who really don't like even the games they are making. So yeah, I really hope this game makes it big, even while it is a niche game. It has a very niche market, but within that game, I hope they really hit a home run and they make a reasonable good amount of money out of it, and they keep it going, because this game has a huge room for expansions, mods, more submarines, more nations, more campaigns. Everything can be done. Now, before we finish the review, I want you to see the options and which options you do have, both in realism, video, audio. That kind of thing is pretty important. Audio, well, you have volume, music. Video, you have a lot of different options here: anti-aliasing, quality, hue, resolution. Obviously, I mean, it's not the most detailed video options, but yeah, you really can change the parameters here and get a better performance out of your game. Controls, you can change obviously hotkeys, and you can change your mouse, you can invert your mouse, etc. So pretty standard stuff. And again, the realism options. You can change your commander name. Why this is Thomas Chesterton and not Ryan JB, I don't know, because I changed it before, but whatever. Yeah, you can see here what I have. The only thing that's not full realism but would be a little bit too much is the player marker. This is in the tactical screen, your position is marked. If you unclick this, you don't even know what's your position. So yeah, that's a little bit too much, especially because modern submarines, they have inertia navigation systems and very evolved situation abilities to know where they are. I mean GPS for once, and then inertia navigation systems to know how far they have moved in a given direction. So I kept this on because really it's okay to have it on. Disable Iron Man because I don't really save in the campaign, so whatever. Hide low soul contacts. This is that in the 3D screen you will only see enemies when your crew has conducted a full target motion analysis on them. So when you know where the enemy is exactly and precisely. If you don't, you won't see them. Event camera, I clicked this on because I wanted it for the video. Difficulty, you have from easy to elite. Elite is actually harder than real life. Hard is more or less real life. This changes the hit points of the ability of different platforms to soak damage. On easier, the enemy will take less hits and you will take more. On hard is pretty much the expected resilience of different platforms. I think it also changes the way the platforms behave and the reaction times of the AI. I'm not sure, but hard is realistic, so I have it there. Then you have distance scale and speed multiplier. Now this is a pretty good compromise. I mean, two of the things that make submarine combat very slow paced is obviously that submarines are not very fast, distances are pretty big, torpedoes, they go at 70 knots, they are not traveling at Mach 3. So you can put a distance scale of 1 versus 4, for instance, and while in the game you are given realistic ranges, the real scale is compressed, very much like World Warships does, for instance. So that's why I was saying that I don't know if with these settings on high level, for instance 1.3, 1.3 and difficulty on easy, this could be an arcade game, or arcade is. At least it would be a lot more fast-paced. So there's that. But I have never tried them. With this, maybe this is an action game. I don't know. I don't think it's an arcade even with those, but whatever. But all I know is that on hard 1.1 and 1.1, this is super immersive. More things. We were speaking about the different platforms the game had. So let's go to the unit reference, and you will have, well, description, sensors, different weapons that they have of all the different platforms. Los Angeles, Narwhal, Sturion, Permit, Skipjack, Sturion Early, this is the 68. You can see that the torpedoes are the Mark 16 and the 37, which are really bad. Permit Early, Skipjack Early. Also, you will notice that these ones don't have any towed array, while earliest ones, see, there's the array, while the late permit doesn't have it. Skipjack, then you have the Soviet 1, Typhoon, Delta, Delta 3, Yankee, Oscar, Charlie, Charlie 1, Echo 2. I mean, virtually every important vessel in the Soviet arsenal is there. Surface combatants, transports, landing ships, patrol ships, landing ships, tenders, whatever. And there are even some biologics. They have you have some whales in there. Then you have helicopters, obviously. You have these shackers that really make your life miserable, and then you have the different torpedoes with the realistic capabilities they do in real life. So they do have realistic sonar range, they do have realistic speeds, and they do have the actual performance parameters of the real weapons. So obviously you will expect them to perform the way they should. So yeah, that's it for the unit reference. So yep, that's it. That's my review of this game. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you have a better understanding of what this game is and whether if you want to buy it or not. I will leave you with the trailer for this game by Killerfish Games, and as always, thank you very much for watching, and see you later.